that's lame, dude. This is about making money.
Okay, yeah,
it's bottom line. It's profit. So those aren't our people.
Right.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I'm not here to be a people pleaser. Like that's not why I'm doing this, right? Like that's not why I have taken the opportunity to step in front of the camera and speak about what I know. That's not why, right? Like when you talk about serving, you do it without the expectation of what the return is. I really want to see you win, right? Like I'm willing to spend hours of my week with you because I really want to see where this goes and how far you can take it.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, right? Like I don't believe that the ego boost that you get from someone knowing you is more valuable than what you offer in that moment. And here's what I mean by that. I have found myself, after realizing that people are recognizing me for what I've done and been able to do with Ryan, people are recognizing me, but I need to be ready to give them something to take away.
Yeah.
Right? The hi, it's me. Hi. Like that's not giving anymore.
It's
right?
not even, that's not an exchange of value.
And so now my focus now is on, okay, when that individual asks me something, will I have a real answer for them? Something tactical that they can apply right away. Right? And I'm constantly thinking that, okay, I can see people sometimes standing off to the side. It's me and Ryan standing there. We were at an event last week and they're standing, and I know they're trying to get to Ryan.
Yeah.
Right? And you almost want to say, just come on.
Just come on,
like, just come on, let's get it done. Right? But you wait for them to take their opportunity. Sometimes they take it, sometimes they don't. All right? And I'm like, oh, you missed out because that was the moment for you, right? You're probably never going to get him by himself and steal again.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's like, take the moment. And then the videographer comes up to me. He's like, oh, I recognize you from da-da-da. And I'm like, yeah, cool. And as I'm talking, I'm like, he's not coming because of just my nice video, right? Like he sees value. And so what value can I give in order, like, for him to walk away with feeling like, they're the real, like he's real. Like he's not just one of these guys up here talking and being an imposter. He's actually trying to help people.
It's true for me as I hear you say that. That means like you are, you're equipped to be a leader because you're thinking to yourself instead of, the value of this is the boost of ego. It's not like, if you recognize me, that's cool, but I want to be able to exchange value with you. Like I believe, I was telling my wife this the other day, before I go on stage or before I do a talk, it's more like, hey, listen, like, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for this platform. Thank you for the ability to be able to share something that could be positive or helpful in some way. So give me the strength. Give me the emotional intelligence. Give me the intellectual intelligence. Give me the recall. Give me the sense of humor. Give me the enthusiasm to be able to pour out so I can help somebody in a positive way. And reminding myself, it's not me. It comes through me.
Right.
And this isn't for me. It is for you, right? And it's for them. And like, amen. And then you go do your thing. And I think if you do that, it creates like a shield, a protective shield, where it's so easy for that to go straight to your head and, start to make it about you.
Yeah. What you're saying isn't coming from you, right? Like you're doing everything to exercise the muscle, but it's a calling. Yeah. So you have to be aware of that and know that. And I'm aware, man. Like I'm telling you, like I don't take anything that I've experienced in the last 6 months, 7 months for granted. Yeah. Because I understand that this is the beginning.
Yes.
And I know where things can go. Right. But enough about me.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Aaron. You said you did a 13K year.
Yes.
And then 100 plus transactions.
Yeah, 5 years later.
5 years later. Yeah. Tell me what contributed to that type of growth in that short amount of time.
So one was, I read in retrospect, I didn't know this at the time, but there was a book by Ray Dalio called Principles. And in that book, he says you need an accurate assessment of reality in order to produce a good outcome. Now, when he said that at the time, I'm like, hey, that's cute. Like, that's kind of clever. You know what I mean? But the more I marinated on that, the more I was like, wow, that's really true. Not the way I think it is or the way social tells me it is, but the way it actually is. And he also had this formula that a dream plus dealing with reality plus determination equals a successful life.
That's good.
What's interesting about that is if you ask yourself a question, which part of that formula is actually the most challenging? It's like, was it a dream? No, everybody's got a dream.
Everybody's got a dream.
Is it determination? People have various degrees of determination. It's the dealing with reality piece. That's the hardest because then I have to admit to myself, I'm not as fast as I thought I was, as quick as I thought I was, as smart I thought as I was, as cool as I thought as I was. And that for some people is so uncomfortable that they shut down, right? So the accurate reality that I then acquired was, hey, the money's not in the service. The money's in the selling of the service. So like, that doesn't mean we don't give people good service.
Right.
That's expected. Like in real estate, they expect you to know how to read a contract. They expect you to know what you're talking about. They expect you to know how to negotiate. What I tell people all the time is like, do you jump up and down when you walk into Whole Foods and they have groceries? Like, no, that's the expectation.
Right,
They're
right.
going to have groceries there.
Yeah.
You're not like, oh my God, guys, this is dope. You got groceries today.
Yeah.
Where the money's at, though, is learning how to sell the service. See, I spent that full year stacking my time on things that weren't actually the thing. I didn't know what the thing was. So once I got that accurate assessment, I was like, oh, that's what's true. So then I got obsessed with learning how to sell the service. So I role played twice a day, 6 days a week for 3 years. I would hand write out scripts by hand.
Wow.
Right? Because in real estate, the conversation, well, the people change, the situations change, the houses change. The conversation never changes. It's always the same. Like, you know, my friend's an agent. Will you cut your commission? Never heard of your company. Like it's over and over again.
Yeah.
And in the real estate business, there's only opportunities. There's no security. And I'm very motivated by security, right? Particularly coming from a family where they didn't have a lot of resources. So what I realized is like, if I get my skills to such a degree that if there is an opportunity, there's an 85% chance I'll be able to take advantage of that opportunity. I've just created security for myself and my family. Okay. So I got maniacal around practice. I would record myself doing presentations. I would record role playing, right? And I sought out role play partners that were doing like 200 transactions and I'm doing like a little.
Yeah.
Right? And pestered them and, you know, bothered them to get into their schedules.
Yeah.
So that was the first accurate assessment of reality. The second accurate assessment of reality is that you can only grow to the proportion that your systems will allow you to. So I don't care how much motivation you do. I don't care how much rah-rah you go to. I don't care how much you go to these, like, you know, all these speakers that'll even be at WealthCon and they're like motivating. Bro, if you don't have systems in place, you will plateau.
Yeah.
You will not grow. So with that recognition, we started to build a team around being able to process deals. Because most agents, what happens is they might get good at the soft skill, but they get capped out at like 3 to 4 transactions a month because they're doing everything behind the scenes.
Gotcha.
So we created systems really with the help of my wife because she's the operations manager. She's a specialist on the profile, so she's perfect for that.
Okay.
Analytical by nature.
Yeah.
And that allowed me to just throw stuff over my shoulder. So we became a conveyor belt for listings where I could take 10, 15 listings personally per month, throw them over my shoulder, and keep it moving.
Going. Wow.
Yeah. So those 2 accurate assessments are really what allowed us to get to that place.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's incredible. That every time I hear a success story about how they scaled or how they improved their business, it always starts with developing a system.
Yeah.
And every time I hear about that, there's usually a woman behind it.
Yeah. You know what's fascinating about that? I don't know if you know this, but Mr. Wonderful, he said he only invests on Shark Tank with women.
Really?
Yeah. Do you know why he said why?
Why?
1 is they're better allocators of resources.
Okay.
And 2, they have smaller egos.
Yeah. Well,
I was like, wow, dude,
Yeah,
that's
I
pretty
know.
insightful. Because like, yeah, that's spot on.
Yeah.
And what's true about that, Justin, I find that so fascinating that you notice that all of my team is women.
yeah. I'm seeing it over and over again. I mean, I'm seeing it in our own system, right? Like in our own company, where a lot of the men that you see, yeah, there might be some faces that you might recognize, and they may be up speaking, and they may be doing, and you know, but a lot of the really gritty work that needs to get done that's like time consuming, but also it has to be time efficient.
Yeah.
They're there. The women are there, and they're just really good at it. I always tell my wife, like, you know, you're smarter than me in every way. Like, I don't have an argument for what you're saying.
No, and
right?
I think that they have the capacity. I think by nature, men are very singularly focused, and women have the capacity to have their attention or awareness in multiple places at one time.
Yep.
So they could be like, you know, talking to the kids, cooking something,
Yep.
like watching what's on TV, talking to you, like all at the same time. Where we're like, nah, dude, I need like one thing.
No, 1,000%, 1,000%. So yeah, I mean, how important has, you know, creating the content been to the growth of the business?
Yeah, so I heard something recently that was very true for me, was that if you are not good at marketing, you have to become a world-class salesperson. So that's what I did, because I had a kind of like a mentor in my life that had a lot of influence over thinking, and he was saying that that's stupid and dumb and you shouldn't do it. That you should just focus on beating the bushes, you know, pounding, dialing, smile dial, make a pile, that sort of thing. And I didn't focus on brand building. And it wasn't until recently, like as I made this transition, I used to own part of a KW office. I sold it back in order to participate with EXP.
Okay.
And I recognized about a year ago, right before we got involved, patterns. So patterns, like Tony Robbins says, like if you want to create outcomes that are favorable, it's based on the quality of your choices.
Right.
We naturally think we're great at making decisions.
Yeah.
But if you look at people's outcomes, they're not. And part of decision making is pattern recognition. So it's recognizing patterns, but then using the patterns.
Yep.
So one of the patterns that I was watching, I'm watching all of these individuals use media because I don't believe it's social anymore. They say that, but they're all doing it wrong because they're all taking pictures of themselves cooking or eating or on vacation. And what they don't realize is that the saturation of content on platforms is at like an all-time high. So more content will be put on Instagram today than in human history.
Right.
And tomorrow will be the same. Right. So when that happens, then from a supply and demand perspective, what becomes more valuable and more sought after is quality of what's being said, not pictures of your food at your mom's house eating dinner, and also production quality. So I'm watching these patterns, and I'm watching the Paul brothers use attention to create Prime and become a billionaire. It's like, wait a minute. I'm watching the Kardashians use attention to create Skims and become billionaires. So if you ask a question like, what's more difficult, creating a product or distributing it?
Right.
It's distribution.
Yeah.
So when I noticed this pattern, I said to my team, because if we want to, I told Carter, like, what we're really doing is like a ministry. The more people that we can bring into it, the more we can love on them and help them.
Yep.
And the vision is to grow to thousands of agents. Like, we've grown to 194 in 16 months.
Wow.
But the vision is to grow to thousands. And I said to Carla, I'm like, I don't really understand this. I see the pattern. I see the tsunami, the wave.
Right.
But I don't really know. I don't know what the platforms are for.
Yeah.
I don't know how to use them. And before this, it was pictures of my wife posting pictures of our kids. Like, I really didn't know. So then I asked Jose, who's my business partner, and he's in the Collective Genius.
Okay.
And I said to Jose, hey, bro, who does social media the best? Who makes the most money? And he was like, yeah, there's a couple guys that have courses. Nobody makes more money than Ryan.
Yeah.
Like, nobody. Period. End of story, hands down. So that was like, okay, that's who I need to get proximity to.
Yeah.
And that's what made me reach out to you guys and then learn. We also brought like a media team, the ones who do the editing and posting for us, where they could be on calls with us. So we're just like, if our bodies are the hardware, our brains are the software. So we're just sucking out the software.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like show us how to do this.
Yeah.
And very quickly, what's been happening now is that with attention, money and power follow attention, and then attention follows money and power.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a virtuous loop. Like Grant Cardone is the one who said that, and it's totally accurate. So now what I see is this is a land grab because the barrier to entry now, like we're here at your guys' facility and this is dope.
Yeah.
I asked you I'm like, yo, how much did the room cost to set up? You're like $100,000. How much does this cost, right? So the barrier to entry for like small business owners now, I think is $2,000 to $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
Like editing, posting, if you're serious.
Yeah.
Because if you don't want to post stuff that just like your family members watch, you
Right.
need help.
Yeah.
So that's the barrier. I believe in the next 3 to 5 years, it'll be $10,000 a month because that supply and demand, it'll just keep getting higher. Better quality production, right?
Yeah. And if you're trying to compete with us,
Right.
you're gonna spend $50K a month.
You know what's funny is I did an event for our a local event. We do socials.
Yep.
And there's a guy who owns a title company, and he was talking to me about like media, and he sees what I'm doing or whatever. And I was like, bro, you post like once a day. You can't keep up with me, dude. I'm like 3 or 4 times a day on all channels.
It just
like
won't.
it's not even close.
If you're not making any money, well, you probably can't invest with me anyway. Most realtors aren't very good real estate investors.
No.
They're just good salespeople. Dude, you're broke, okay? You don't need a rental property.
Yeah.
Trust me.